Hey there, I'm Sam. I'm a music photographer for over 6 years now, and I basically never did a video about what it's like to be a music photographer. So today we're going to change that up a bit, and I'm starting a little series talking a bit about my own techniques, of how I take photos, and I'm giving you a few tips to improve your own music photography. And today we're going to start off with a few of the misconceptions that involve being a music photographer, because people often get a very different image of the job than it really is in reality. So yeah, let's start right away.
Okay, drop that. Yeah.
Number one, a real and normal day in the music business. Being a music photographer is far less exciting and thrilling than people often think, and we're basically not chilling with musicians in their vans. We're not having a lot of beer, we're not getting all the chicks. We're basically just there to take photos, and that's quite a harsh schedule we're following, and there's basically a lot of rules and a lot of waiting time involved in getting a good photo, and the few photos you see is basically the only few minutes that we're actually doing something other than waiting. And a typical day looks a bit like this, where you park your car, you leave the parking lot, you walk to the venue, you try to get into the venue, and you hope that somebody put you on the photo list, because sometimes people forget that or something goes wrong, and then you're not even on the list, and then you have to call a lot of people to try to get in, and that's a real hassle, and it happens sometimes, and it's not cool, but it's part of the job. Then you get in and you hope to find a quiet place to unpack your cameras and to get ready for the show, and basically from there on you just wait until the headliner plays. You wait, you wait, you wait, you go check out the support bands if you got time. Then you're preparing for the headliner, and you're waiting again until he decides to get on stage, and then you have only 3 songs normally to take the best photos you possibly can during those 3 songs, and basically you leave the venue and you edit your photos, and then you go home again, and that's the thrilling part, and the rest is, yeah. So normally there is not a lot of contact with the musicians if you're not shooting some local band. You're basically just in contact with the PR people of the venue or with the tour manager, depending on who your client is. And you're not really living a rock star life or anything like that. It's maybe 1% of the top concert photographers that live this dream, but most of us really just go in there to get cool photos for their client, which is mostly newspapers or online media or something like that. Number 2 is basically the same thing. It's about knowing your place in the photo pit. And a lot of younger photographers especially still think that they are the most important aspect of a show, and that they are the middle of everything. But basically, as a concert photographer, you are a tiny part of a larger machine that always keeps going, and you are probably the least important thing that's happening right now. There's, for example, securities who have priority number 1 because they save people and they make sure that people are doing well and that nobody is getting hurt. And there's people like the tour manager or even the musicians on stage, and basically during the 3 songs you're shooting photos, you're disturbing everybody doing his job. And I know that you're doing a job as well, but it's not the most important thing, and that's something we have to get in our minds, because issue number 1 is safety in the photo pit, and it's very important to know that we are not the center of the universe when we're taking photos. Number 3, we are not the only artist in the room. It's basically a misconception of a lot of photographers who think that their art is more important than the client they're shooting for. And it's important to know who you are shooting for. If you're, for example, shooting for a press outlet, a media outlet, a newspaper or anything like that, they don't need the most artistic photos. That's a simple fact. They need a photo that shows who's there, who's playing, and how many people are there. And they need to try to have a nice photo showing the atmosphere of the concert, because they are normally putting 1 photo in the magazine, and that's it. If you're lucky, you have a media that allows you to be a little bit more creative. There's a lot of people who take themselves too serious as an artist, I'd say, and they're completely missing the point of being a music photographer at this moment. If you're engaged by the artist himself or the venue, maybe they're more interested in your own artistic vision of a concert, but basically it's just important to have the right mindset in your head when you're shooting, because if you're taking the wrong photos for the wrong client, you're going to lose motivation and you're going to be disappointed by the experience, and that's simply a very sad thing. And I think knowing who you're shooting for really helps you develop a clear vision in your head, and you're just getting more sure in the photo pit and you know what you're doing, and that's a very important thing. And those three things are very common with younger photographers who still don't know what music photography is really about. And yeah, that's it for today. I hope those few things helped you understand a little bit better what music photography is really about. And if you tune in next time, I'll speak more about my personal tips and techniques that really help you improve your own music and concert photography. So have a great day, and thanks for tuning in.
Okay, drop that, yeah.